Hello, my name is Trydar. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build the Roman Pantheon in Minecraft. Let's get started. Alright, so first we will take a tour of the exterior and then the interior and then take a look at the materials list and then we will begin the tutorial phases over here itself. So, the Roman Pantheon, considered to be the very apex of Roman building construction, at least that we still have surviving, and I think that that appellation is probably highly appropriate for the Western Roman Empire. In the East, I think the Hagia Sophia would claim that crown. We will build that someday, but for this one, we are of course building the Roman Pantheon. So let's take a step back here so we can view it from a distance. As you can see, we have a very standard Greek-style portico on the front here. It's on a good Roman podium over here with 2 lions and some gardens here. I've added a few columns on the side with some eagles. We don't know that that was there, but I have added some things for decoration's sake that are going to be a little bit different from the Pantheon as it appears today, because I have restored the Acriterion sculptures at the front here as well. And up here for the flat part, where there is nothing today, I presume that this is where the Romans would probably put something akin to what they would put on top of their triumphal arches. And so for this, I have chosen a decoration of an equestrian statue and 4 royal lions flanking him there as well. And behind that, of course, we have the roof of the dome. And as you can see, it's supported with several diorite arches around the building. And for this, I have increased the exterior decoration because it's all been stripped off in the intervening centuries, so we don't really know what was on the outside. But I have chosen to continue the columns and the Corinthian entablature and just bend it all the way around the building because it is pretty much a cylinder. So we, in this building, we are endeavoring to stick a square peg in a round hole. And I think we can do that rather effectively. So at the back here, you can see it just wraps all the way around with the pilasters and the Corinthian entablature and the arches as well. And of course, the key feature of the building is the oculus up here at the top. Let's take a brief look at that. Real quickly. We'll take a look at it again when we go inside. But as you can see, there is basically a giant hole in the top of the dome. It's called the oculus. It serves a few functions, most notably to light up the space, but also it takes a lot of stress off the center of the dome and is one of the reasons that it's still standing to this day. All right, and over here to the side, we'll take a look at that later. You can see I've sliced the entire thing in half. So we will take a look at that, but let's take a closer look at the reference model here. So you will notice we have a big inscription on the front of the building. And this is, of course, a Latin inscription. So what this says is that Marcus Agrippa, son of Lucius, consul, for 3 times, built this. And that is at least what it says anyway. That's not actually what happened. Marcus Agrippa, he did build the first Pantheon. This is actually the 3rd one to sit on that site. Marcus Agrippa's original Pantheon apparently went up in a conflagration, and it was rebuilt by Domitian. And that Pantheon in its turn also went up in a conflagration. And that one was rebuilt by Hadrian, or rather the oldest bricks in the bottom down here indicate that the Pantheon was actually started in the last couple of years of the reign of the Emperor Trajan. And which means that this was probably designed originally by his architect, Apollodorus of Damascus, interestingly enough. But Hadrian did finish it, but as is usual, when he would restore things around Rome, he would put the original inscription back on the building instead of putting his name on it. And thus, we have the original inscription from whatever the original Pantheon looked like for Marcus Agrippa, for whichever one he built. I'm sure he built something that looked like this at the front, but at the back, it's going to be completely different. Over here on the side, I have chosen to add on the podium some royal lions here laying down guarding the stairway. Of course, there's no stairway today. It's quite buried because the ground level just keeps getting higher and higher in Rome. Most notably because the Tiber would overflow its banks fairly regularly and leave a lot of mud inside the city, and that just got built on top of over the years. On the sides here, I have added some formal gardens. In Roman times, I think this would have been attached to a large courtyard with probably a statue or some sort of altar at the front out here, with a peristyle, a colonnade on either sides of this, enclosed in a big rectangle, all nice and paved with white Roman travertine out at the front here. But this build was already so large, I decided to dispense with that particular feature. So if we go underneath the pediment here, we can look up, and this is not what you will see if you go to the actual Pantheon today. You will see a Renaissance timber wooden beam constructed roof, because one of the popes just had to have the bronze beams that were holding up the roof before that. They were the original bronze beams that the Romans had, but he really decided that he had to have that to make a bunch of cannons out of. So that all got stripped off and melted down, which is not the first time that had happened to this, because apparently the Byzantine Emperor Constans, when he came to the city, he really decided that no, he needed all the bronze off of the roof of the Pantheon and whatever was underneath here as well. So he stripped all that off and shipped it back to Constantinople. So we really don't know what was under here to start with, because it's all been messed about with so much. So I had to get creative, and what I have chosen to put in here instead is let's actually have a little potion so we can see what's going on. So what we have instead here is a barrel vault, and we do have some arches over here to direct the stress down onto the columns. I think in the middle here it's very likely that the original design would have called for a barrel vault. On the sides, they probably didn't have these side barrel vaults that I added. They probably just put a flat bronze coffer up here at the top and in front of these side niches over here. I think these side niches, which I have just put Roman soldier statues in these, by the way, but there's probably supposed to be like one for Marcus Agrippa, and the other one was probably for Augustus over here, if I had to guess. We don't really know, but there are these niches here for statues. So I decided to go ahead and put some in there. So let's go a little deeper. So we see in front of us now the great bronze door of the Pantheon. This is actually the original bronze door still on the Pantheon from Roman times. It somehow survived even when the Visigoths and the Vandals sacked the city. They didn't take the bronze from this building. It's one of the only buildings that they really didn't touch, I guess. I mean, after they saw it, you can understand why that they would have left this one alone. Besides, there was plenty of other treasure in the city for them to take anyway. But this is the portico of the Pantheon. It's a very nice structure in its own right. But we want to go through the door, and for this, I assume there is going to be some space here if you want to convert this into like a redstone door of some description. But I don't know how to build those. So we will just be building a standard bronze door here, and you can put just perhaps a little door in here as well for that. But I think that's enough explanation for the exterior and everything, so it's time to go inside. And upon entering it, we can immediately see what makes the Pantheon so special. Even in Minecraft, it's rather impressive. Of course, we have the Oculus there. We can actually see a little spot of sunlight over here from the shaders shining through at an angle. Of course, if you go in the Pantheon, the circle of light moves around all over the building all day long with the rising and the setting of the sun. It's really, really quite impressive. Now, the design for the dome I have, of course, not modified. It is exactly as it is in the actual Pantheon. I have changed a couple of things on the lower sections down here, though. The floor is fairly original, as I can make it down here. Of course, we have a lot of hidden glowstone right here by the gold. I think the especially the new gold and the glowstone texture will match fairly nicely. So you can have a lit floor. I think there's going to be just enough light in here to prevent spawns. So you won't have to cover the entire thing with torches, is why I've gone with this design. But along the walls here, we can see we have several niches that I have enlarged, so we can put full-size Roman soldier statues in all 8 of those. We do have several side chambers here as well. I presume that they would be for even more statues. We have got, 6 of those with the apse on the end there, which would, of course, be for the most important statues. But for this, the only difference I have done is I have increased the height of the entablature here to match the one on the outside of the portico. And to do that, I have just decreased the frieze here, this section where there are several other little niches. And I have made them the right size. So if you want to put some armor stands in these little niches along here, you can do so for that. And there's also a couple of doors. We will come back to those. But I've also made this a walkable area, actually. As you can see here, not unlike a triforium in a medieval cathedral. After I finished building the entablature, I noticed there was going to be just enough room here for you to be able to walk around, and I thought it'd be a nice place to view also the floor, but the dome from up here as well, sort of like a midway up the structure. Of course, if you put a sphere inside this building, it would, from top to bottom there, it would just touch, and I have kept that design feature in everything I've done here. And over here is where the main altar, I guess, would be for the Pantheon. Probably a large statue here is usually what these app things were. Of course, right here would generally be also where the Emperor would have his throne as well. But there are a couple of more things to go ahead and take a look at. So I have added in here some interior access doors. These are not on the Pantheon. I think the doors of those are actually on the outside. I don't know why, but I decided to put them on the interior here. And this is because we have some small access spaces to get up to that triforium level. Over here, we do have 2 rooms. There's one here, and there's going to be one on that door over there. And these are utilitarian rooms I have designed for you to use when you are building the structure. If you want to store all of your mini chest and shulker boxes inside here while you are building the structure, this will help you in doing that, I think, because we do have a staircase which you're going to be building as we go up in height, slice by slice later on. And this staircase will help you get up and down on the building, so you don't have to build so much scaffolding. It's integrated into it. There's a staircase inside the actual Pantheon around here, though. Up at this level, we do have a couple of windows where we can look out and see whatever is in your world beyond this point. And there are some smaller rooms over here as well in this top section. And these are designed for you to use when the lower room becomes too far down when you're building the structure. So at this point, you can move all your chests up here. And later on, I think you can perhaps, you could even put a base in here as well. There's enough space in here if you just wanted to live in your Pantheon, and who could blame you for doing so? There are a number of passageways I need to talk about. So there are a couple of hallways. This hallway back here, this one is circular and it wraps all the way around the building on the interior. There are a number of doors, however, like here is one of the doors where we can use to get down here and access our triforium level. And if we want to walk around this and get to the other side here, there is another door over here in one of these little niches. There's one other door over there as well. If we go up here, we're back into our hallway. It's going around our building as well. And there is as well also some roof access from these doors here. If you want to climb up this ladder and flip open this trap door, you can get up on the roof this way. And there is a space here for you to walk around as well. There are a number of accesses for this I've designed. There's another one here that goes straight back down to the circular hallway, and there's one here as well. Let's go back down it. And this brings you back to the room with the windows. And over here as well, here's this other door I talked about previously. And there is one other access ladder there. Well, there's two. Here, there's a little doorway if you need to get out onto the roof of your pediment here while you're building that. There's one doorway here. There's another one on the other side there. And in the middle is probably the most important access ladder. So if we climb up this one and flip open another trapdoor, like so, we are at the very back of our equestrian statue. But here I have integrated some cobblestone stairs so we can climb up one of the ribs of the dome. And as we approach the top here, we can very carefully look over the side of the oculus here. Let's crouch so we can get all the way. But if you were doing this in real life, you do actually need to be crouched down anyway. It's not just a Minecraft thing, because a gust of wind with the shape of this dome, they will fly up the building, and if you're standing up, they can just, knock you over, and that's the end of you. So you have to be very careful when building this, because just like in real life in Minecraft, I think that if you do fall from the Oculus and you don't have your elytra, you are definitely going to die from the fall there. So make sure you take very, very careful care when building the structure here. But I think this probably concludes the majority of the tour. So let's go up the Oculus here. And as we go up here, if we keep your eyes on the floor, the receding dome, that makes a very weird, sort of little trippy effect when we look up through it like that. Just thought I'd show that to you. Over here, I have sliced the reference model in twain, so you can see more of a profile view of everything we have going on here. Now, the interior, you will notice it's filled with granite. And this, for our intents and purposes, this is going to represent Roman concrete, because, of course, the dome of the Pantheon is a concrete dome. And you will notice it's thicker on the bottom here, but as you get towards the top, it becomes thinner and thinner until we get down to just the last 2 blocks there for that. You can also see the hallways here and the access ladders and everything that we crawled up and down as well. And a view of the barrel vaults there on the pediment also. And I think that probably wraps up the tour. It's been a rather long tour. There's a lot of explanation. It's a building with a lot of history attached to it. So I wanted to run through that and show you all the differences that I have included in my version of the Pantheon that's different from the one we still have today. Fixing some of the mistakes on the pediment here, and just changing the interior just slightly by decreasing the height of the frieze below the dome there as well, and adding, I think, the statues back on top that I think would have been there as well also. Alright, so the materials list for this. So if you're still with me and you still want to construct the Pantheon, you are going to need the following rather long and expansive list of materials. So if for some reason you want to fill in the Pantheon solid, like as we go along for the tutorial models over here, you will be seeing a lot of granite as we go, and that is because these are the blocks that are inside of the building and are not visible. Therefore, I have filled them with granite. For our purposes, you should imagine that this is instead good old-fashioned Roman concrete. But if for some reason you want to do that, you will need 208,060 blocks of granite. It doesn't have to be granite. You could use dirt if you wanted to, I guess, or cobble or whatever. But I assume if you're building this in survival, you will not use this and probably leave the building hollow. but make sure you light it up when you do that. So for everything else, all the rest of the materials will be required. You will also be needing 10,711 blocks of diorite. That's going to be like a Roman travertine. You will need 9,307 blocks of calcite. You can imagine this is a fine Greek pentelic marble. All the white blocks, for the most part, on the interior, especially for the dome, we are using calcite for that because this texture is just wonderful. And we just have to use it. You'll also be needing 2,472 blocks of grass or dirt that will later turn to grass. 18,036 blocks of cobblestone, 6,736 blocks of cut copper, fully oxidized for stage 4. And that is going to be for the exterior elements for the dome on the top there. For the interior, you will be needing 7,628 blocks of cut copper, but stage 1 that are waxed to stay this nice color. I think over here in my texture pack it randomizes it between 1 and 2 shades, but I think it would look nicest if you left it as stage 1 copper for the interior, and that is primarily used for the dome, for the little statue niches here, and also for the barrel vaults under the pediment, as well as the door. And also for the dome, you will be needing 1,878 cut copper slabs, also at stage 4. Now, I should remark, I will include the complete materials list, a write-up of that, as a pinned comment and also in the video description. So you don't have to make a big list, because I know this is a rather long list, and you probably want to have that all in one place. So that will be there for you as well. You will also need 1,923 blocks of gold ore, primarily for the floors. 322 oak tree trunks for our decorative ornamental gardens on the site here. For that also, you will need 2,520 jungle leaves and 2,014 spruce leaves. Now, all you really need is you need one leaf type for the tree and another leaf type for the hedges down here at the formal gardens. They don't have to be jungle and spruce. You can use whatever you have on hand if you like one leaf block more than another one. For that, just make sure they're different though. You will need 2,076 blocks of lapis. We're using that to cover the walls. Interior detailing. The original marbles is most of that's actually been replaced in like the 18th and 19th century, so we're not really sure exactly what was there before, but for our purposes, I mean, I just love using lapis, and it goes really well with the copper and the gold and the calcite, so we're going to be using that. If this is too expensive for you, you can possibly substitute this with blue glazed terracotta, I think. Might work for that. You will need 177 blocks of gold, 451 cobblestone slabs, 272 quartz slabs, 627 stone brick slabs, 281 blocks of obsidian, tons of torches, 85 diamond blocks, or 85 sea lanterns. These are decorations for all the statues is where those are going. But I know not everyone has 85 diamond blocks lying around, so if you don't, you can use the sea lanterns instead. But if you do, I would recommend that you actually do use the diamond blocks for decoration here, because as I said, this is an expensive building, and it's probably going to be worth the expense. You will need 71 ladders, 3,361 cobblestone stairs, 1,004 blocks of netherrack. We're using that as mulch for the formal gardens, 317 blocks of glowstone. For your windows, you will need 30 light blue stained glass blocks and 30 light blue stained glass panes. For the exterior, we will need 15,123 stone bricks. That is the minimum amount. 4,761 stone brick stairs, 6 trapdoors, 3,011 deep slate tiles. I really like the deep slate tiles. If that's too difficult for you, you can perhaps use blackstone for that as well. 65 deep slate tile slabs, 388 deep slate tile stairs, 69 nether brick fences, 387 cobblestone walls. For the interior, we need 1,374 blocks of quartz, 600 blocks of chiseled quartz, 91 quartz pillars, 3,529 quartz stairs. You will need 25 banners to replicate Marcus Agrippa's inscription up there on your Pantheon. The exact how you do the lettering for that, you need to look that up separately. It's not included in the tutorial. 15 dark oak doors, possibly 16 if you want to put a door in the bronze door there at the front. 30 end rods, and 320 blocks of red nether brick. So there is an awful lot of different and varied materials you will need to collect for the Pantheon here. As I've said, the entire list of this will be in the video description along with the world download and everything. So now that we have done all of that long tour and explanation, we can tackle a couple of phases of the tutorial itself. Now, as I've said, we are breaking this tutorial down into 1 block slices because of the extreme complexity of the building. Every slice I show you after this is going to be 1 block taller than the previous one. So in that way, I will be showing you all the blocks that you need to place, except that they are placed already. Because, I mean, if you will do the math on how many blocks there is, I can't possibly place them all in front of you. So we must do this in order to have any kind of tutorial video at all. And with all that said, the dimensions for the Pantheon are 111 blocks wide that way, 150 blocks long back that way, and 76 blocks tall. That's 76 from right there all the way up to the very last diamond block on the tip of the sword for our equestrian statue up there as well. That's also the same height as the oculus behind it, by the way. So we have 76 discrete phases, very large phases to get through. So as you can tell, this is going to be a multi-part video. I'm estimating somewhere between 3 to 5 parts because, I mean, as you can see, we have to take our time on this one. So it's going to be as long as it needs to be. I have no idea how many parts it will be, but we have to slow down and do things accurately enough for you to be able to build it. So, very important, you will first want to make a rectangle of 111 by 55. This includes the cobblestone stairs that this is sitting on, by the way. That 157, that 111 by 155, you want to mark that out with the cobblestone stairs, as you see done here. This is done all the way around the building. And behind that, you then want to come in and place cobblestone. 2 blocks thick all the way around, directly behind your 111 by 155. And when you do that, I highly suggest that you count that number 3 times. Because if you make a mistake on that, it is going to throw off everything, and we can't have that. So do make sure you have this exactly correct. And as we go, I'm going to be counting things out when necessary with these stone slabs here, because when I place them down, I mean, you can see that that's 3 because of the pattern that we have here. Formerly, I would use the red wool, but because it blends together so well, it's rather hard to see. And we get out of here. I'm trying to do a tutorial. But once we have done that, we need to come over here. And as I showed you over here, remember, I split the building down the middle. And that means that this building is symmetrical around the center line. Absolutely everything in this building is symmetrical around the center line except for the equestrian statue at the top there. And I should also remark as we go, I'm not going to be spending a ton of time on these statues because they already have their tutorial videos that you can look for those. Like this is the Royal Lion statue tutorial for the lying down one. There is the standing one here. That's also in the Royal Lion. For the middle one, we have the Roman equestrian statue. This has its own tutorial video as well. And this thing up here, the Roman eagle, already has its own tutorial as well, as I think possibly the column it's sitting on, in the Orders of Architecture video. So to save a bit of time in what is going to be a long series anyway, if you need more detailed explanations for these statues, please refer to those tutorial videos. So the first thing we possibly need to do is to locate our center line, which, I mean, we don't really have to do that in this phase. We can wait a couple of phases before we do that. But to do that, all you want to do is divide the 111 in half and subtract 1. Like, it'd be like what? 110 divided in 2? No, I should not do math live on camera, but I think if you count from here and go like, what, 55 blocks? Somewhere around here, that will be your center line. But we don't need to have it at this moment. So the first thing we need to do is lay out the patterns for the formal gardens on the side here as a decoration for our Pantheon. So you can see from the top down the pattern here, we have some dirt here in the middle, and that's because this is where we have the platform for this very large column and statue on the top there. The other dirt here is for where the trees are going to go right over there. So for this, let me count out for you. I think, let's count out the netherrack. So from the side here, let's take a diagonal. You want to count in a 3-block diagonal and then place a block. And this is going to be our block number 1, 2, 3. $24 blocks for that first run of netherrack. And across the front here, we then want to have, starting with this one as 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. Darn cow. Let's start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17 blocks for that there. And then behind that, you then want to do it again. And we'll start in I think, let's do another diagonal. So we want to count what? 2-block diagonal here for that, and then place the first little bit of oak for your tree, and then another block. And then we'll start right here and count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a long run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12. And then all that over there again. And that is going to be your first formal garden. And between that, you want to have 4 blocks of cobblestone for a little pathway on the side here. I've included these little side pathways here, by the way, for you to access the pediment over there. And behind those, we have, of course, another section of formal gardens. And these are going to be rounded towards the end there. Behind it, you can see the granite. Remember, I said that the granite is placed in places that are not visible. So if you want to start leaving things hollow back here for this and save yourself a lot of materials, you can do that and just not build that. But it's here for completeness sake, because I do like to have my buildings solid when possible. Let's start here and count, what, 1, 2, 3, 17 for that one. And then let's go back and count 1, 2, 3. $24 for that. So you want to make a rectangle out of that. And behind that, you want to make another one of these like we did over here. Just put it there, and I think it might be the same size. I should count that. So we'll start here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, And what? That's going to be 1, 2, 3. 12 for that there. So I will go back and we'll show you all this from the top down. So if you need to, you can count and double check. Very occasionally I will miscount by 1, apparently. Over here we want to skip a block and count for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 22. And then we have a round part, so we want to count for 1, 2, 3, 13. So then we want to count for 2, 2 here, 2 again, then 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, third 3, a fourth 3, and a fifth 3. For that there. So you want to make that pattern inside the grass with the netherrack. And we're spending extra time on this because getting that down will allow us to quickly place down the hedgerows behind that as well. So now we want to go all the way to the back for that. And from our back corner right here, we then want to count in for a 1, 2, 3, 4 diagonal. And then we want to place how many? 1, 2, 3. 33 for that one. Let's go back over here and we want to place 1, 2, 3. 33 for that one. And then we want to count 3, 3, 3, 3 again, fifth 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 2 again, another 2, more 2s, then 1, then 2, 2, 2, 2 this way, 3, 3 again, fourth, and a third and fourth 3 there. All right, so let me show you all that from the top down so you can double check your work. Like so. And on the inside here, we're just placing down netherrack again. Like we had before, we do have a couple of blocks here where we're going to be placing trees. Right there. So that's going to be what? 1, 2, 3. 12, and then what? 1, 2, 2 again, 1, 1, 2, 3. 12, and then 2, 3, 2, 2, 2 again. Several more 2s. And finishing off like that there. Alright, now for this one, we need to count out the very large circle of the foundation for the building itself, now that we have spent all that time on the gardens. So we want to come back around here to the front. And for this, let's take a direct count off of the edge here. So this is going to be block 1, 2, 3. So what, 22 and 23. So on the 23rd block, we then want to turn in here and count for 1, 2, 3. 28 blocks to get to that point there. And then what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. All right, 28 to get there, and then we need to start curving around for the circle. So that's going to be 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2 again, 2 again, 2, 2, 3, 3, 5, and then a long run of 1, 2, 3, 19, and then 5, 3, 3 again, 2, 2, several 2s here, 1, 1, it could be 1, yeah, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, there's going to be 4 1s, no, it's diagonal, back up, this is going to be a diagonal run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 diagonal, and then 2, 2, well, no, and then 1, 1, then 2, 2, 2, 2 again, another 2, 3, 3, 5, and then whatever it is from here, all the way until we hit our center line, which we can probably calculate our center line off of this back here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there it is. That is going to be our center line back here at the back. So let me go from the top down. Let's go back to the front and take a look at everything from the top down. So if needs be, you can pause and manually check my block count to make sure it's accurate, because this is a foundational phase, so the block count is very important. So as we go, there is the next segment there. Here we start the arc of the circle. We try and zoom out to get in enough of the arc so you can see a complete profile of it like that. And then back here as well, you should be able to use the numbering for your formal garden back here to double check this so you can have all of that be correct. All right, so that was the first phase. I don't know how long we spent on that one, but it is foundational, so we do have to take the time. And the tutorial will be as long as it needs to be. All right, so next phase, as I said, we are going up one block from the previous phase. So if you have gotten all your dimensions and counted them 2 or 3 times to make sure everything is correct, the next step to do with the formal gardens is to take your leaf blocks and just edge out around the red netherrack that we placed over here. Just edge all of that out. And we only want to leave a few blocks of grass here exposed, where just around our trees and around the base of the plinths of our statues. They're over there like that. And of course, those are going to be, I think they're 7 by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So those are going to be 7 by 7. Of course, you can leave this hollow because that's granite, remember. And you can go ahead and start building that in for your trees. On the front here, though, we're building out these little side things for the lions. And we're doing that with some cobble here. There is granite running along here, but I probably should have changed this to cobblestone, because you might see that behind the leaves. So you might need a bit of extra cobblestone to hide that by those leaves. My apologies. See, there's always something that's missing. From the side here, though, you already know where this block is. So we want to count 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 3 this way. And back here, of course, we have the steps. And these just go straight across with the cobblestone stairs and the stone bricks to the other side as we go. And remember, as we go through the Pantheon, I'm going to be focusing on half of the building and showing you that in detail. But remember, what we build, you need to mirror all of that on the other side of our center line. Remember that center line that we drew back there? You want to draw that straight through your base, or rather straight through the building. And you want to mirror what you build on this side exactly on that other side over there. Very key feature of most Roman buildings, they would always have just a line of symmetry that would go down those, and of course the Pantheon is no different. Over here, a little bit of detail. Just a couple of blocks that you want to build for these little stairs. For this garden over here, you want to do the same thing you did over there. You want to just do that again. Like so, and around here, you want to extend up all of the bushes and everything as well. And on the side, we have just a straight run of cobblestone right here. It's going to be what? Just directly on top of the granite from there to there. That we already counted out. So you want to fill that in. As you see done here. All right. And at the back here, you're doing the same thing at the back here that you did on the side over there. And I think that's pretty much all there is for this phase. As you can see, we're still just working on the foundations. We haven't actually started putting anything on top of that. So we can go on to the next phase, and we will start over here again with these gardens. So for this, you're just extending your trees up as we go. And for this, I'm actually going to take a little shortcut on these trees. Let's go back over here to where we started. And instead of referring to these trees, I'm going to spend a little bit of time on that now. You can go ahead and build all these trees since you know the block location down here. You could just place oak down in the middle of it, like so there. Like that there. And in the middle, these are repeating pattern, my pointy Roman cypress trees. So I'm going to remove the leaf blocks here right in front of you and replace them with red wool so you can easily see the pattern, or rather the red coral. Right here. Right there. And this is just a simple repeating pattern for these trees. Absolutely every tree that I show you is done in this same exact way. Like that there. So I think it's easier to see with that. You can see the design we have for the tree. And you can go ahead and construct all these trees and use all that second type of leaf block that I had you gather for the materials list. Alright, so now that we have the trees out of the way, we can ignore those from this point onwards. So you're extending up your little plinth for the statue, for the base of this column. Right there, you're doing that with cobble. Of course, you can leave the interior back here hollow. You want to. On the side here, detail for these stairs. Like so. Around the front here, we do have a big band of diorite now that is going around the building. You can see it starts here at the stairs, right here, extends across the front there, and then it runs all the way back here with a minor interruption around these stairs, and then continues all around there. So where we went around and placed all those slabs to count out everything, this exactly on top of that, you should have used cobble instead of the slabs, and on top of that, you then want to put down your first layer of diorite. Now, I believe there's going to be another layer of diorite directly on top of that. Of course, we're using that for fine white Roman travertine marble for our purposes here, and as you can see, that's all the way around the building. And I think that we can go ahead and go on to the next phase. I want to get at least a couple of phases. We need to get at least to the floor and possibly the main foundation. We'll see if I can still talk by that point. Over here, we have some details for the plinth for the statue, for the column, and then statues on top of that. So I'm just going to give you good views of these as we go. Of course, the tutorial is designed for you to pause and replicate the block patterns that you see and build it in a very visual way. I will stop and count things out when it is necessary. However, you can see behind here we are doing, you're raising up the diorite just like I said you're doing. And at some places we do have a little extra cobblestone at the corners behind that as well. if you want to place those. Let me give you a good view of this from the top down. Back here, perhaps it will be easier for you to see it this way. For the most part, we have all those hedges for the gardens are already placed, and I've shown you how to do the trees. So we're pretty much finished with those. And from this point onwards, I will leave you to build those trees, and we will focus on the building itself. Here, a little bit of detail for the stairs. We have just a little 2-block landing right there, and then more stairs beyond that. And at the front here as well, we also have a 3-block landing for that of cobble, and then you want to start another row of stairs behind that. And of course, that's continuing just straight across to the other side, where you should be mirroring everything that you built on the other side over there. All right, next phase. So a bit more here for the plinth for the statue. A bit here for the stairs. We can see on top of the diorite, what you're now doing is you're placing a top layer of cobblestone stairs all the way around the front. This is where we're going to be building our royal lions momentarily. Behind there for the stairs, you can see you've continued up for 2 flights beyond that. And then let's go around. Let's ignore the floor pattern for a moment. We need to go around here to the side. And what you're doing is you're wrapping the cobblestone stairs around on top of the diorite, as you see done here. And you want to wrap that all the way around for all of those, except for like this little section here and this section here. And this is because of our, well, it's out of view now, our attached pilasters that we have to the side of our wall. And that is the only difference for that there. You're just doing that all the way around the back and all the way around the circle. All right, so let's come back to the front. And we have a rather complicated pattern here to lay down for the floor. So to start with, I'm going to show it to you from the top down. And we can now easily identify our center line here. Now, by the way, thanks to the floor pattern, it's right there. So here is a view of that. Now, the floor pattern here, it is a repeating pattern. There are only 2 of these squares you really have to learn how to build. It's just this square right here and that one right there. And you can see you're doing this in a checkerboard pattern. You see you've got this square here that's the same as that one there, and that one there is the same as this one here. They're just built diagonally from each other. So you want to start in the center line and build that repeating pattern. With we have a 2-block band of diorite around the exterior, though. From our stairs here, we have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a 2-block band of diorite, and then we start our pattern. Now, you will see stamped out in granite here, we have the bottoms of our columns, and they're done according to this pattern here, like so. You can possibly leave some of that hollow there, like that, and you can see that it's just stamped directly on the floor pattern. If it makes it easier, you can go ahead and build the floor pattern and then just build the columns on top of it. I think once you do the pattern, you will be able to clearly see where you want to place the columns. Now, the intercolumnation distance, that is the distance that the columns are apart from each other, for the most part is going to be what? I think this one is four blocks. See, 4 blocks, except for the middle here, because we have a center line where it is 5 blocks. And that's completely okay, because the Romans and the Greeks also, the intercolumation distance will vary depending on where they're placed on the structure. So see here to the side, we have 4 blocks there. Turn the corner, 4 blocks and then a column, 4 blocks and a column, 4 blocks and an attached column to our wall back there. But then we have 4 blocks again and another attached column. 4 blocks and an attached column. And for that, I think I'll probably go around and count that in a moment. But you can see here the pattern is also chosen in this way so that we can work a little glowstone into the floor to prevent spawns, so we don't have to cover our entire Pantheon with torches, and therefore make it rather ugly. On the inside, though, there is it is the same floor pattern, but we are doing it with slightly more expensive materials. In other words, if I go down here, we can see that we're still using the gold ore and the glowstone, but now instead of the diorite, we are using calcite. And instead of the cobble, we are using deep slate tiles for that here. So let me try and zoom out on the entire thing here so you can see the plan of this. I'm going to go around and count out all the edges in a moment because we're going to need that for the foundation. And let me just try and zoom out on the entire thing. Perhaps that would be beneficial for you to see as well. All right. So let us count out, I think, from the doorway. We will count out from, I think, let's start here. It's as good a point as any. And count for, the counts I'm going to do here, by the way, you should be doing with this on the exterior. You can see on the next face, this is going to be stone bricks for the most part. On the interior, though, it's going to be your chiseled quartz. But I'm going to use the slabs because it'll be easier to count. So here at the doorway, your doorway is going to be going across here, by the way. Right here, our big bronze doorway with our center line coming through right there. So we want to count out 1, 2, 3, 1, well, a diagonal of 3, and then 3, and then 1, 2, 2, and 1. That's because we have a column here at that point. And then we have 1, 1, 2, 1, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then 1, 2, and 2. And then 1. And then 4, 1, 2, and 1. 4, 2, 2, and a 2 diagonal. And then 3, 3 here. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagonal. Then 1, 2. 1, 2 there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then 3, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 here. Then 1, 2, 3. 8. 3, 5, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1 again, 3, 1, 1, 4, 2, 1, 5, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 3 here, and this is going to be our center line coming out at the back there. So let me go back over this from the top down. The reason this wiggles around is because we have column bases attached to a cylinder. So it's going to vary a little. Like right here, this is going to be an attached pilaster. We're going to have another one here, another one there, another one there, and so on and so forth until we just wrap them around the building. Remember, like I showed you in the tour, that's why that's different. So I wanted to go around and count that. Here we see that you can now start building this little room I talked about. If you want to use this for your storage. So on the inside of our building, we want to count 2, 1, and well, I could suppose I can use. Well, no, let's not use that. This will be easier. 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1 here, 1 there, and 1 there. This is the doorway that leads in. Over here, we're going to have the stairs that will be going up to our building. And we're going to have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 1, 2, 3, 11. And then 7 again, and 1, 2, 3, 9. And then just 4 right there for that. So that's going to be the interior footprint for that, for your little small building, your little small room inside the building, if you want to use this for your storage space. Of course, there's another one over here if you have extra storage. But it was going to be otherwise wasted space, so I just put a little room in here to use that. Of course, the Romans, for some reason, they do have exterior rooms on these. I couldn't really find an explanation on what they are, or even a picture inside one of them. So I filled this in solid. I think it's probably supposed to be relieving chambers for to decrease the overall weight of the building, if I had to guess. But I don't really know why. Those are there. So we want to count from here by our door. 1, 2. Then 2 again, then 1, 2, 3, 4. In this part, you should be doing this out of, I think, well, that's in the next phase, but it's going to be the, what's it called? It's quartz, chisel quartz, goodness. Then 3, 2, 2, then 3 here, and then 1. Diagonal of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then 2, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 2. And then a diagonal of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 2, 2 there, 2 here. 3, 1, 2, 3, 2 there. Well, no, that's going to be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 11. And then 2, and 2 again, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 11, and then 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1. What? It's going to be diagonal again of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then 2, 2 again, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, and then a diagonal of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get to there, and then 2 more, 2 here, 2 there, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, and of course our center line is right there. So I'm doing all of that so you can get, this will help you place your floor patterns. Of course, on the inside here, we do have some column bases, you probably noticed. So I'll just mark these out in the red. Here, we do have some column bases here. You don't have to build the floor pattern for these. So let's make sure you see these, and then we'll take a look at all this slowly again from the top down. Like that there. All right, so we're starting at the back here, working our way around. Of course, we have our repeating floor pattern, and this has all been edged out with the slabs and everything, so you can see the exact counts for that. I imagine this this floor may be a little frustrating, but it's very important to get right. This is going to serve as the foundation for the building itself. That's why I went around and counted all of this out for you in detail, because it's going to be very important. All right. So I think we have beat that phase entirely to death. Let's go on to one more for today. And I think that this is probably where we will have to stop. So over here, a couple more blocks for that thing and for your trees. Over here, there's, I think we're done with these side stairs now. So we can come back to the front here. And this is the first phase for your lying down Royal Lion statue. And for this, I will now refer you to the Royal Lion statue tutorial video. For you to build that, I'm just going to show you where it's sitting on the Pantheon, but as we go, I'm going to ignore it in the next phases. So you can build that yourself. On the front here, we already have our pattern placed down, and you should already have the footprints of our columns. So you want to go around with the stone bricks and just place, 8 of those for every column, spaced out over the floor pattern like you see done here. For the pediment, behind that, on the exterior, for everything I counted out with the slabs, you want to have stone bricks. For that, except for by the door here, we're just using diorite for that. And of course, the lowest most portions of our door right here. Of course, we have our center line right there. So in here, we have our little rooms I've designed for you to use to store some of your materials if you want to. We have the very first stair of our long winding staircase to get up into the bowels of the building. On the exterior here, everything I counted out with the slabs, you want to have done that with stone bricks, like I said. Like that there. I don't think that requires any more explanation. Let's go into the middle here. So by the doorway, we have just our first blocks of calcite. Well, not counting the floor. Our first blocks of chiseled quartz anyway. Like you see done here as a base all the way around the interior. So all the blocks I counted out over there with the half slabs, that is now done out of this chiseled quartz. And you can see the lowest most portions of our columns being done right here. So I'm going to give you just a slow panning view of this as we go. But all that should be relatively straightforward to do from the last phase, I think. And then over here at the apse at the back, we have our center line running through the building again, which means everything on that side is just a mirror of what is on the other side of the center line. So let me give you a good top-down view of this entire phase here. Let's try and get the entire building in the frame. Like so. But I'm afraid that's all the time we're going to have for today. As you can tell, the Pantheon is a very large and expensive mega build, so it's going to take quite a while, so we can't rush things. And do remember, the entire world download is available in the video description, so if needs be, you can come here and take a look at everything for yourself. And I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.